Yeah, because I was just really bothered by the idea that we consider, and even that he considers himself a high value Black man. I think that was the thing that my takeaway was just like, how could this guy elevate himself in his mind that he's a high value Black man? And not even so much to say that he's a high value Black man, but women, like we're like this woman is on here asking him, and she's regarding him as a high value Black man. And there's people that will look at him in his life and consider him a high value Black man. And by no measure do I see this guy as a high value Black man. So I just wanted to like expand the conversation and get an understanding as to what makes him a high value Black man, and how is this not insulting to the Black community that this is what we measure as a high value Black man. This is it for us. Like, this is what we aspire. Like, she's aspiring, not just aspiring to date someone of like this guy, but it's like, this is what we consider, like, really? It's concerning on so many levels. Like, how is this dude even, he shouldn't even be able to get a relationship because he has so much work to do on himself. But like, right. Literally I'm like, based on what? So he's putting his monetary value, which is like that of a dentist, as the reason as to what qualifies him as a high value Black man. Like, we're going to disregard everything but his monetary network. So the net worth. So then we can just look at that and say, like, well, is it really all about his money?
So for the people who may not know, there's been this discussion going around about high value Black men. And to be honest, aside from what I've heard them equate to a high value Black man, which, keep in mind, it is within our community only that we allow our men who are not providers, who are not protectors, who have no wealth, who have no resources. Like I said last time, if Black women want food, clothing, shelter, healthcare, or education, we can't go to Black men for that. We have to go outside of our community. Yet they believe that they can refer to themselves as high value. This is what they believe. They believe that they can refer to themselves as high value. So I've heard a high value man described as a man who makes six figures. This is usually what they've been saying. Oh, he makes six figures. He's a high value man. Now we know six figures is below a million, and it starts at 100,000. So it's about 100,000 to below a million, because once you get to a million, you're beyond, you're not at six figures anymore. So these are 100,000-aires essentially. So you have, number one, there isn't even a lot of 100,000-aires within the Black community, but to them, a high value man is a 100,000-aire, not even a millionaire. The money isn't going to the community, is not translating into any generational wealth or any collective wealth, is not translating into any power, is not translating into any resources. Yet you have the one group of men who are not providers, builders, protectors, and have no resources, qualifying themselves as high value men, and then going further to determine the worth and value of the women who are actually superseding them in every single category. Like, they can't even compete with Black women in terms of what Black women are building and our financial state in the community. Yet they're trying to tell you whether or not you're a high value man. And this is the problem. This is the core problem, that we let them do this.
And I think another problem is the fact that, like, we don't know that this guy is gay. Like, we're really coming to this guy who's actually competing with us for the same guys, and we're asking him how we can be more of how we can get the same guy that he's looking for. Like, because how can we not know that this guy is gay? Like, we need to really just look at use some common sense here. Like, this is not a guy who's straight. So why are we, and then his attitude shows that he has hostilities toward Black women. He probably wants to be a Black woman, but we're looking to this guy who's clearly has, like, really, and we're asking him, how do we
I want us to talk a little bit about, and then, you know, Ella, obviously chime in whenever you want to. But I want us to talk about what is a actual high value man, because this seems to be focused solely around money, and I get why, because the only thing that Black men could attach themselves to is the little bit of money that they make that has to be allowed by men of no color. Because keep in mind, Black men can't even give other Black men jobs if they want to. Like they don't even have the resources to employ other Black men, or quite frankly themselves. So if a Black man wants a job, he's also at the mercy of a white man or a white woman, because they have no systemic power at all. If they want a business, they have to go ask the dominant society for a business license. Even for Kevin Samuel, then this goes beyond him, but even for him to sit on YouTube, he has to be allowed to sit on YouTube to spew his narrative, because again, they don't even own really a social media platform where they can put themselves out. They don't even have that. So you literally have these men saying that they are of value because of only their money. And that's why, you know, shout out to Nyla, we call them high value dusties, because the only thing that they're saying that they have is the money. They're not telling you how you're going to benefit from that money, because again, they're not going to provide for you or protect you. So you don't have access to their funds. They need you to go 50-50 because they're feminists. So this is literally the I got half on it gang, who are calling themselves high value men. Ain't that silly?
Well,
it's actually pretty disturbing, because it doesn't.
Go ahead, Ella.
It's pretty disturbing because it doesn't seem like they take into account anything other than finances. And it's like, what about morals? What about leadership skills? What about intelligence? What about integrity? Like, there's a lot of things that are missing in this guy, clearly, and he is considered a high value man, and he has so many views, and women are actually like pandering to him and actually assuming and considering him to be somebody that's actually worthy of an ear. Like, he's not even worthy of an ear. I don't understand why people are putting so much value on him because he has a little bit of money. It's actually disgusting.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting also that it's like, look, first you have guys who will say, you know, if a woman is interested in a man only because of his money, then she's a gold digger. And that's not a type of woman that they want. But the same token, their highest value is what they put as their monetary value. This is what he's and it's like, and it's laughable for me, like, because six figures isn't a lot. So, and then it's like, if he wants to go on like the six figures, most guys don't even have that. So most black guys,
most black men are low value,
right? But the thing is, look, you have so many black men literally like co-signing for this guy, like he's their hero, he's speaking for them. When it's like they're below that. Like you're not. He's not even speaking on your behalf. And like, so it's just amazing to me, because I look at like the psychology of women and men who respond to this and listen to this and their takeaways for this. And it is like, how can we kind of, you know, he's right because they wouldn't go for him, that's an entirely different, like that's wrong too, because black men, I would say black men, because black men, they don't place value on black complexion at all. So the fact that black men wouldn't go for her isn't because of the fact that she's what he calls a 5 or what she considers a 5. They wouldn't go for her because of her complexion. Like he will value someone, and most black men out who will get six figures, they are even above six figures. They will value a woman with children. They will value a woman who
she's white,
as long as she has a certain complexion.
Right. As long as she's white.
That's all she needs for most black men. So that's like a lie as well. She can actually she can date a white guy easy and have so many options, and most white guys make above, they have more access to six figures and above. So that's the thing. It's like she has options. She may not have options with this type of guy because his psychology is so messed up. And who would want this type of guy? That's the problem. The problem for me is like, why would anyone want this guy, and why would someone place value on him at all? Like he shouldn't be an option. He has mental problems. He has anger problems. He has mental problems. He is clearly not even, like, he's gay. Like, I'm not even gonna, I won't speak on his sexuality, but I'm 100% sure.
Mostly everybody who sees him suspected. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but mostly everybody who sees it said that. But the thing is, it's just like we were discussing earlier, Onyx, like even how like I've never heard of a high value male term coming out of people of no colors community. And it's because it's already a given that there are certain things that the men need to stand for, the men need to obtain. And I think that's what's missing from our community. So I'll use this as an example. I was watching the latest season of Life After Lockup, and there's a black man on there who he called himself a hot commodity, yet he was finding his mates off the prison scrolls, because hot commodities don't do that. I don't know no hot commodity who look for their women off the prison pen pal rolls. But there were black women in here who knew him. And they were like, oh, he's a good guy, he has a good job. And that's where it ended. It ended him being his measure of a good man in our community is that you have a job. There was nothing being said about, you know, his loyalty to women, whether he has respect, anything like that. And then while they were describing him as a good man because he had a job, mind you, these are older black women who are in his age range, because he was like in his 50s. This was a 50-year-old man who was unmarried. He described himself and said that most people look at him as a womanizer and a player, but you had these black women who are describing him as a good man because he had a good job and he was decent looking. So what we look at as black women as a good man versus what everyone else qualifies as good men, this is one of the areas where it's lacking, because you just having money shouldn't be enough. That should come standard. And that's one of the things that I learned by watching these shows like 90 Day Fiance, where you get to see how all of these other women conceptualize manhood. And money is base level. That's the base thing for them. If you don't have money, you're not a man, but that's base level. You need to come with that anyway. The rest of it is, can you provide for her? Can you protect her? How are you treating? What is the character? Things of this sort. Obviously, this is not to say that every man of no color embodies that, but it's to say the socialization of what a good man is very different. So then you have black men, again, as the single group of men who can't provide anything to them communities or themselves, speaking the loudest on them being high value, although they literally have nothing to offer any group of women, because they do the same thing to other groups of women too. They lower those women's value. That's why I threw the image up of Robert F. Smith and Jeff Bezos, because even when you look at the type of women that these so-called high value men go after, and we know, just like we were discussing earlier, Onyx, the more a black man increases in his earning income, i.e., the more he becomes a high value man, the more likely he's to completely alienate his women in general. Because look at Robert F. Smith, billionaire in the community. Now, he can have any woman he wants, theoretically. But he chose to go find a woman of no color whose vagina had been spread over every wall in a Playboy mansion. This is just the reality of what it is. She was ran through, because we know the Playboy bunnies are party favors for the various different celebrities who run in and out of the Playboy mansion. This is who chose to marry. But look at who Jeff Bezos married. A real high value man, because his value is estimated beyond what literally black men accomplish. You may have Robert F. Smith, he might be a 1 billionaire, but Jeff Bezos could buy literally the entire black community if he wanted to. So you have a different measure of high value. Who Jeff Bezos
is still crappy though. Jeff Bezos.
Huh?
Jeff Bezos is still, he has a crappy character though. He's still like a horrible person. So we're still just putting the value on his monetary.
Right, because that's how
finances.
Right, because that's how I'm measuring it, how they measure it among.
Solely based on finances.
Yeah, it's solely based on finances. But look, but he married a woman of no color that was below average. If you look at Mark Zuckerberg, he married a woman of I think his is Asian or something, below average. So while you have these black men who don't produce anything, they're simply saying, I make 6 figures. So therefore that qualifies me for the upper echelon of black women. Meanwhile, if you look at a bunch of high value celebrity black men and look at the women of no color that they're married to, look at who they're with. So you can have them sending one message of, the black man, if he's a high value black man, then he deserves these. You youthful, beautiful women. And it's like, that, no, you don't, because he would, even a high value Black man, he will pick a ran through old haggard looking Becky over a 20 something attractive Black woman any day.
Right, which is why that guy like literally went in on the woman, because she and I'm telling you, it's like literally he has a hate for her, not just like he has this, if you're trying to like give someone the truth, it's like, you know, the truth hurts sometimes. No, this guy had animosity, he had hatred for this woman, and he minimized her because she literally is his reflection. If she went and copied his look, she looks just like him. She can look like him if you want to. He don't like black skin. That's what his issue is. And I guarantee, and people can say differently, but this dude.
Well, I know that you're making a lot of sense with that, because on the last video that was posted before that was of where he was complaining about the one chick that with 2 children, thinking that what did you say, she has some value or whatever. Like, she was beautiful, like stunning, but she was dark skinned, and that's probably why he was flipping out on her,
because he doesn't find value and it's sadly that a lot of Black men don't see value in Black women because of their skin tone.
Yeah, because they don't see it themselves.
And Black women, unfortunately, but I would say the Black community at large has a poverty-stricken mindset, and this guides our decisions. This guides how we look at things in life. So he's, for example, considered high value, though he's like garbage, because he has a certain amount of money. He's reached a certain amount of money, so now he's therefore a value. Let's look away from the fact that he's garbage, complete garbage, and by no means should anybody enter in a relationship with someone that hostile, by someone who would sit and degrade another person. Like, nobody should be looking at this guy as potential for anything but a restraining order and a role model as to why you don't like this. You were not going to get a healthy relationship out of this guy. And if you went and look at his past, it's like he's someone who literally has, you know, ex-wives, like, not one, but ex-wives plural. So it's like, you're looking at this guy who's completely a train wreck, and we're asking him, we're validating his existence and his horrible morale, and telling him that he has the credentials to give relationship advice. Not like
can we pause really quickly, because y'all have dated outside your race and even married out, you know, for Ella. And what's most cringy to me is I know Black men
put my business on these streets.
Well, I want y'all to kind of speak to this, because you have Black men speaking for how white men perform in relationships, and it's like, they're not white men. So you have this person who said a lot of high value Black women are not even on the level of dealing with a wealthy white man, because he is a control freak. He is going to build that Black woman up, and then gave her half. Like, first of all, a lot of these people can't even spell or make proper sentence structures. So I don't even know what he's trying to say, except that he's trying to speak for white men. And what I can tell you, and then I'll leave it over to y'all to do it, because I've dealt with wealthy white men, and I can tell you none of what you're saying is true. I haven't dated them, but I have taken their money. So I have dealt with them in a capacity of money, and it's not really hard to get a man of no color to part ways with his money, especially with the Black woman.
That's for sure.
This is what I'll say to that, and it's when you talk about white men, they have more access than Black men. Okay, so all on the entire spectrum, they're going to have more. And when you have more money and you come from a different background that's not poverty stricken, you actually have less stress in your life. You have, when you do encounters, and so it's entirely different. I don't even like to make the comparison, because it's almost unfair.
It's extremely unfair.
It's not unfair. No, it's not unfair. Let me tell you why it's not unfair. Want me to tell you why it's not unfair? Because even the very men in question, Kevin Samuels, as well as all of these men, guess what they do? They sit up constantly and they'll compare Black women to white women. Now, that's not a fair comparison either, because women of no color, they have a group of men who are builders, providers, and protectors, and who incentivize their loyalty. We don't have that. So I think it's not fair to not compare them to men of no color. The reality is they live in a society with men of no color and men compete with each other. So the reason why black men aren't on that level is because black men don't want to compete. They don't want to compete for whatever reason. So they do need to be compared to them.
Well,
They
Well,
do.
the
because
reason
they're
why
like-
it's unfair is because they have white men has a society that is there for them. The society
They
is
do,
there
and
to make
they built
sure
the society
that
for
they're
them.
successful. The schooling is
Because
there
they
to make
built
sure they're
because they
successful.
built it.
But
Ella,
exactly,
because
but
they
it's
built this
still there.
society
But
for
I'm saying
themselves.
at this point right now, it's still there for them. These white men have done nothing, and they're nothing, a single thing, not a single thing to give them the status that they are at. But they expect
They
it and they
shouldn't.
want it because it's already been there. It's been taught to them from the
It's
beginning.
not white men's job to elevate black men. It's not.
And I'm not saying that it
look
is,
at a
but I'm saying
competition.
But I'm saying the white men that are there right now, they have this sense of superiority because they've just been treated like they are royalty. They've been treated like they deserve things. They've been treated like they should expect things. And so black men have had to fight for every single thing. Like, I mean, like I said, I had a white my ex-husband is Caucasian, or at least Caucasian passing, and he gets the utmost respect anywhere we go. Any and everywhere we go. I can just go send my little white man in there to get whatever I want because I know for sure that they're not going to question him. They're not going to ask him why he think he deserve it. They're not going to treat him like he's a criminal and has no reason to be in a place. Like, they give him the utmost respect. And so for us to say that black men should be they should have this. Yeah, they should, but they have to fight a lot harder to get it.
Okay, so why don't they do it then? Right. So why aren't they doing it? And like, I agree with that, but here's the thing. Men compete with other men. And literally, if you look at even the animal kingdom, there's competition between the men there for an alpha man to establish himself. So the bottom line of it is men of no color have created a society, regardless we can look at the way that he created it and we can say the way he created it is not morally correct in our opinion. In their opinion, because moral is subjective, in their opinion, they established a society by the means that are moral to them. So it's up to black men to determine what lengths they want to go to create a society where they are praised, where they have the privileges, where they have the resources. Black men have failed to do that because here's the difference that I notice between men of no color and black men. Men of no color are not willing to negotiate power. They're not. The bottom line is they're going to be in power and they're going to do whatever they can to establish and maintain their power. They're not going to negotiate this. Black men are comfortable being in subjugation. Black men will negotiate different levels of oppression. That's what black men will do. So it's nobody's fault except black men that he is in this position because he refuses to do what other men are doing to get himself out of it. If you want to obtain power, you don't go lay in between the legs of your oppressor's wombs. You don't do that. You go and you subjugate and conquer the men first and then take the women as spoils. That is what men of no color did. And whatever black men say, maybe that's what you should do. As a male group, if you saw that they did that and that's how they were effective, then why don't you go do it?
They're afraid to. They're afraid to.
Yeah, they're afraid to, and they're turning it on their women.
Well, exactly. And that's what I don't like. That's what I was going to say. What I'm starting to see, what I see black men are doing is they're actually competing against black women. They're actually trying to berate and down and say, well, we're better than black women. And it's not about men, which is the concerning thing. The concerning thing is it's like they're not taking this energy to white men and trying to battle them out. They're actually trying to take down black women instead. Like we're going to beat you down. And that's because we know that you're defenseless. White men actually have a big defense. Black women don't. And so in order to try and show their dominance and try to make a place for themselves, it's like, let's tear down the black woman. And that's a problem. And it's a problem because, we're not acknowledging it as black women. Because I'll tell you, it's like, I never dated a black guy who didn't have 6 figures or more. So you can put it either way of the coin, but guess what? The black guy has to have a high morale as well. He can't be like, this guy is garbage. Like, why are we looking at black guys who behave this way should not get the attention of black women anywhere unless we're trying to correct his behavior. We shouldn't be going to guys like this for any advice. We should be shunning guys like this. And then there's like too many guys like this that exist, and too many of us are elevating us and giving them an ear. And it's like they should not have they shouldn't get our time. They don't deserve our time. They're not. We shouldn't be asking garbage how to do anything other than take out garbage. And he's garbage. We shouldn't be asking him how to find a mate for us, because he's not an example of what a good mate is. He can't tell us how to find a healthy relationship. He can't tell us how to cultivate a healthy relationship. He doesn't know how to maintain one himself. So he has problems. And I keep saying that he's gay, and that's not to insult him. That's to say he's not living his truth. So if he can't even be honest with himself, why are we going to him to be honest with us? Like, he needs to figure out what kind of relationship he wants to be in. And fix that, and try to worry about how he can cultivate his own relationship and maintain healthy relationships. But he doesn't even have the ability to do that. And it's like, but instead, we're going to go to those garbage guys. There are actually Black guys out there who can get that kind of relationship advice. He's not one of them. But why is he's literally making a living. His career is based on berating Black women, and we're giving him that platform. And that's the problem within ourselves. It's like, why don't we realize that this type of guy shouldn't have a voice? He should, for us, like, let him go to his community and his community.
But the thing is, they don't even have a community. They have a section of society that they have been placed in by the alpha male of society. That's what
that's what I'm gonna say. He does. He has a lot of male followers who have a disdain for Black women, and who will go on there and watch his show and go in his comments just to see a Black woman be teared down and minimized and told that she didn't have any options and that she's not worthy and she doesn't deserve anything. That's what there's a large following Black men that want, their ears are open to hear that, and that is what he's getting. And like, that's a problem for me, that literally this guy has made his platform on berating and degrading Black women, and Black women are happy to flock to it, happy to flock to him, and happy to go and criticize this woman as well, and say, oh, she actually isn't attractive. She actually can't get a man. She literally has this woman would have no problem getting a man. No problem. Absolutely not. And the fact that her son is 13, this dude's gonna be grown in 5 years. So it's like, no, she actually is she is above average. Like, the guy is giving her horrible advice, and these people, I don't know if it's just like this self-hate that they want to hear, like someone is doing worse than them, or that they're better than her because, like, yeah, she got the money and most of them can't even make that amount of money. Black men can't make that amount of money. I can't say they can't. Most of them can't. Most of them don't, though. So they want to hear
most of them are
who have reached that better of success be torn down, to tell her that her money doesn't work, her hard work and her money doesn't elevate her, doesn't put her higher than them. They want to hear that. And so they want to go and tell her, oh, you had a child, so you're pretty much garbage now. It's like, no, it's like, just as many single moms are, like, the amount of single moms are the same amount of single dads. So it's like, think that in your mind as well. It's like, she has options. Like, it's just foolish for them to try and berate her and say that. So
I want to read these super chats really quickly, because D. Markiba said the wives of Bezos and Zuckerberg are highly educated compared to Smith's wife. And I want us to comment on that one right there for a second, because Robert F. Smith is considered a high value Black man. But let me read these other things before we get to that, because there is something that I wanted to say about that as well. And then Olivia Gabriella said, China East Asian men working their plans to equalize or hopefully dominate Western society. Building and strategy doesn't require the consent of women. We know it doesn't. Then Olivia Octavia said, read The Destruction of Black Civilization. Y'all know I advise all Black people to read that book. It's very eye-opening. It'll tell you exactly that. After reading that's why I stopped saying that it's unfair to compare Black men to men of no color. After I read the Destruction of Black Civilization, and I really wish Axtina was able to join, because she read it as well, so she understands the history of how we got here. But anyway, SCME said, men of no color built this system and go to any lengths to maintain it, including death. Black men are scared to challenge their power structure So they challenge Black women instead while ignoring their oppression. Well, the thing of it is, they don't ignore their oppression. They say Black women caused it. There was one more on here. Christina Douglas said they don't make the distinction between high value and high quality Black men. Quality denotes all the ethics, standards, strengths, intangibles the Dusty they're lacking. So I want us to, can we go back to, and I want you guys to comment on that, because it goes to, like I said, the difference between, and actually it goes into that mentality we were talking about, Onyx, where it's based on, the value is based on skin tone. So they can try to say it's whatever they want it to be, but the more higher earning a Black man it becomes, the less likely he is to marry a Black woman, regardless to how she looks, regardless to the income she brings to the table, regardless to how beautiful she is, regardless to whether she have a child or not. He's still less likely to choose a Black woman when he is high earning. He's going to go, because most high earning Black men are married to non-Black women in general, across socioeconomics, whether they're a celebrity or not. Most of the high earning Black men do not marry Black women. So the conversation is already starting from a point of dishonesty. If you're not including the fact that if he's high earning, you have to compete with whiteness. And so
Exactly.
and I just want to say this really quickly, and then I'll hand it over to you. Then when you look at the women that these high earning, high value Black men are choosing, when they do choose white, that gives more context, because look at Robert F. Smith's wife, again, ran through the Playboy. Look at Kanye West's wife, women of no color, who was ran through by every Black man in the industry. Look at Scottie Pippen's wife, Larsa Pippen, average looking woman of no color, who he's even now having to witness running through the industry, slurping up every Black male basketball player and athlete. So when you look at what that person said in terms of the quality of the woman that they choose, look at who high value Black men are choosing versus who men of no color are choosing.
Yeah, and the reason why that is because Black men, by and large, they define what's valuable based on white men. So to determine value, to determine beauty, to determine what is, that is what they look to. They look to the white man for that. So their ultimate goal is to be seen as equal to the white men, or to be seen as like the white men. So unfortunately, like you're saying, it wouldn't matter. Like ultimately, what is their standard of I've made it is white complexion. Mm-hmm. And you will start seeing, and I would be very, very surprised if in a number of years you don't see this dude get him a white man. Mm-hmm. That's why you see that there's a big change. You will see that there's a lot of Black men. They're going to start switching, and they're not looking for, like, their ultimate goal is whiteness. And if they can't beat white men in terms of trying to get on their level one way, they're just going to be like, oh, I can date the white man, and then I'm by his side, now I'm equal to him. And that's what you will start seeing trending, I guarantee you, because ultimately Black men, by and large, and it is, in a way I don't even blame them for, because it's a programming, and it's them trying to find their place. But it is. They're like, if we can't beat them, join them. We can't beat them. We're not going to try and beat them. And so we're going to. It is. That's what you.
Onyx, this is what we were talking about earlier. The economy gets them excuses out of it. I know, but this is getting them excuses out of it. Enough time has passed for them to do something.
It's rationale. The thing is, if you start to say, okay, well, how can Black men, first of all, they don't have the desire. So we can start there. Black men are beginning to find that Black women are their problem, because instead of, they don't feel like they need to, like you're saying, that they need to fight for power, they need to find fight for their place in society. They feel that they are, by and large, they already have their place in society. They're not attacked when they by by white men when they're with a white woman. Most of them, that's okay. So the only issue that they're seeing is Black women are not liking this, and Black women are speaking out about their behaviors in terms of their lack of commitment to the Black community, their lack of commitment to their own children, their mentality. Black women are pointing these things out, so therefore Black women are the problem. And so they don't mind where they are, and as long as they can be okay, which means live in a way that they're not feeling like they're poverty stricken, they're fine. And if they can leech off of a woman of no color and utilize her resources, they're fine with that placement. They're fine with it. They're even fine with the racism that's going on, as long as they can just leech and be okay. But when you start asking for them to do something and get active and try to speak, like, you're the problem. So you're acting like they have an issue with their place and their standing in society, and they don't. They're okay.
No, I don't think Ella was trying to say something, but I don't think that they have a problem. I think they're comfortable, and part of the comfort they have is Black women regarding them as viable men and treating them like they're producers and builders when they're not. But Ella, what were you trying to say?
Well, I don't think she was saying that they're a builder. She's saying that there's a reason why they're not.
No, I think the way we respond to Black men and treat them as if they are builders, and they're not, but we should have never made excuses for Black men and let them get away with, at least, because let's just say whatever, let's give them the civil rights movement, say they accomplished something, let's give them that. In over 50 years, Black men have failed to do anything to build up their community. In over
they're comfortable. They don't see it as their community.
Yeah, and I know, and I'm saying we've helped them be comfortable, because non-producing men in general, should never have the option to pick from the women in their community. They should never have that. They shouldn't have the access that they have. But we've treated them. We've done this as women. We've shown them we're okay with you not producing. So now that we've been showing them that we're okay with them not producing, now for the Black women who say, well, you should be producers and builders, of course now they have a problem, because we've been showing them that it's okay. We should have never let them think that it's okay to not produce and build and compete. We should have never done that.
And I'll tell you why. You see a lot of us do. A lot of Black women try to excuse empathize. Or a lot of Black women do that. It's because you have to realize, like, if you're not going to, you're going to be single. And a lot of Black women have a problem with being single. So if you're telling Black women to chastise men for their behavior and to say that I'm not going to be with them, that's like saying, well, you're going to stay single and you're going to die alone, because no guy is going to want to put up with somebody who's going to push him in a way that other women won't. All that's going to result in is them saying, well, I don't want to be with you, you're a nagger, I'm going to go with Becky, who actually has.
They're doing that anyway. They're doing
that because there are women who are saying, I have expectations for you. And so when the expectation, so guys will actually pretend to, have a certain morale to be in a relationship, but then at the beginning of most relationships, but then when those expectations come along and they're required to be reliable and it's not happening.
Follow through.
Yeah, it's not happening. You can't sustain that reliability, and there's reasons why. And like, you call it coddling, but I call it like rationalizing. Like, why is this happening? Why can't he succeed in society that's built against him? So I look at those factors and I look at them as actual reasons, because this is, I mean, at most, guys in their mind, they do equate their manhood to their finances. And so if you have a society that is built to suppress Black men financially and in other aspects and other ways, they are going to feel minimized, and that frustration is going to come out in relationships, and that is going to create friction in relationships. And you're right. You're going to find that type of dynamic more in relationships where there's two Black partners versus it is when
you definitely are when the expectation that they do more isn't even there. So like, I get that it's okay for us to be sympathetic and understanding and recognize the societal issue that's against them, but we should not be accepting of inactivity and non-production just because of that. Like, so we've basically spent this entire time giving them one huge pass and saying, okay, well, you don't have to do anything because you're oppressed, only for that same group of men to turn around, be completely unsympathetic and empathetic to Black women, compete with us, come at us aggressively. Like, so this is what our understanding have gotten us, or our rationale. And I get what you're saying. That is our rationalization, and it's wrong.